Okay, today on the Income Flip podcast, I've got Brittany Racine. Brittany, welcome. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me. I am good. Excited to be here.
We were talking earlier and you said it's summertime, the kids
Mhm.
are around, it's crazy. But I was like, embrace those times, right? Like
Yeah.
this is why we build businesses, right? So we can build a life that we want by design versus by default, right?
Yeah.
So Brittany,
Embracing the crazy.
how did you get into just real estate in general? I'm just curious.
So I actually have a marketing background, but in 2013, when I got pregnant with my son, my mom was in real estate since 2006. So she really started right before the recession and everything got really weird. But she was really needing an assistant. So she was like, I feel like you should get your real estate license. It'll be, flexible hours when you have the baby. So that's when I got licensed. And I kind of thought that I was just going to do it like part time to help her. And then I ended up doing it full time. And obviously, it was kind of crazy when the kids were little. But after now that they're in school, it's like I really have been able to dive into it and build it a lot more.
How old were you when you got your license?
I was 24, 25.
Oh wow. So you're a
Yeah.
baby. Baby having
I mean,
babies.
that was 11 years ago, but yeah. Or 12. I just had my 12th anniversary with Real Estate One.
Oh wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so you get your license.
Hmm.
You start off really probably being first an assistant to your mom, right?
Yeah.
And then how long were you doing that for before you decided, you know what, I can do this, mom. I can go out and sell.
Yeah, I mean, I was able to, I still showed houses for her and did open houses, but I did a lot more of just like scheduling showings and doing any of like the like computer stuff that she was not as familiar with. So whether it
Hmm.
was newsletters or, kind of like just the behind the scenes stuff, not so
Sure.
much going to listing appointments and really selling to clients. So, I mean, I started doing that. I maybe like 2 years in, I started getting some of my own clients, but I really dove in to like head first, really, I want to say maybe like 4 years ago. Just because it was
Okay.
a lot going on with the kids were super little, so it was hard for me to accommodate, like drop everything and go to a showing when like I had two little kids. And then I also was going through a divorce 6 years ago. So once that was kind of finalized, I was able to really hone in and like focus on it and figure out what I wanted to do with it.
Yeah, so let's double click on that a little bit because that's always hard, right? You're
Hmm.
building a business.
Yeah.
I always say this business requires a lot of energy, right?
Hmm.
And when you're going through a separation or divorce, like your energy flows somewhere else, right? And obviously you have kids at the same time. So,
Yeah.
not to get too personal, but like what was that like trying to balance all of that? I mean, was it hell? Was it, you
Yeah, I mean
know?
it was hell. I obviously like your energy when you have like two toddlers is just all over the place in general. So, I mean, it was nice to be able to have those flexible hours for those years when the kids were super demanding. But
Mhm.
yeah, then having the divorce when you're just like drowning in misery. But I
Yeah.
also had to take on my ex-husband's business at the time also, which was a franchise restaurant that I
Mm.
had absolutely no experience in. But my name was on the LLC. So through the divorce, he was just like, I don't care what happens to it. Like, I'm not going in there ever again. And I was like, okay, well, you can't just like it would bankrupt both of us. You couldn't just bankrupt the LLC because it was a franchise. So like they would just sue both of us individually. So I
Personally.
had to take
Mhm.
that over. And that, like when you're talking energy spread all over the place, like that was a nightmare because it was a 24/7 job. I mean, it was a franchise restaurant, so of course you're minimum wage employees. They're constantly getting in trouble. Like we got robbed at gunpoint. I had corporate like finding me for everything under the sun because I wasn't licensed in any of the things like he was licensed in, the serve safe and all that stuff.
Mhm.
So it was like the divorce went on for 2 years legally, like in the court system. And then the restaurant I had for maybe an additional year.
Okay.
So that was like just never ending hell. And then,
What did you learn through that whole process? Because I always say we're forged in fire as business owners and entrepreneurs, right? Like, what did you learn from a legal standpoint? What did you learn from a
personal
about
standpoint,
yourself standpoint? Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I learned so much. I feel like during the moment, you don't really realize that you're learning a lesson, like you're just trying to survive. And then after you kind of unpack it and, take some time to really decompress what the heck just happened, that's I think when you kind of pull the lessons out. But I do think that if you don't fall on your face and fail as hard as I did in that, it's hard to have that. fire and that steam and that momentum to want to do something else, because it's like if you haven't seen like the depths of hell, it's hard to be like not want it. You know what I mean? Because you don't realize how bad it is. So for me, I mean, I learned a ton of lessons on just not putting my future in somebody else's hands. Like
Mm.
I was, held down by all these corporate rules for the franchise that I was constantly being fined for. I couldn't get out alive. Like I don't like being stuck in a position that I can't get out of. And it didn't
Hmm.
matter how smart I was, like how hard I worked, like there's nothing that I could have done. And obviously that was during COVID also. So COVID really was like the nail in the coffin for that
Oh my
place.
God, that's
Um,
crazy.
and then I also learned at the same time, like it was hard for me to rely on people because like I had so many employees that just didn't care if they came to work, and like they knew what that I was going through so much stuff, and I had two kids and I had to pay for everything, and I'm like forking out all this money to keep this restaurant open so I don't get sued, for hundreds of thousands of dollars, which I ended up losing 250,000 in
Mm.
that, in like alone, like I had to pay for all of it,
Mm.
while I'm, paying for my kids, my house, and everything else. And then I also had an attorney who, like, I gave him a home run for like to go to the trial. He actually was being debarred for sexually assaulting his clients and getting a DUI.
Oh
So,
my
which
God.
he didn't disclose to me. And I'm like, this is like that was a huge slap in the face because I'm like, not only am I like begging for help and I'm working every single day all day long just to like get out alive. Like I'm being screwed over by everybody that is acting like they care. I'm paying them to care and they still don't. So I think it was just a huge like reality check that nobody really cares. So if you don't care what you do with your life, nobody else does.
Brittany, like that. Well, I'm sorry. I'm both sorry and not sorry that you went through that because,
Yeah.
in Nietzsche's, like if we're quoting Nietzsche, right? Like he's got this quote that essentially says like, "I wish you hardship and destruction and death," and like it's like because that's the only way you'll ever truly know who you are.
Yeah, you
Uh,
definitely find yourself in that.
yeah, but some people just die. Some people
Yeah,
just
I
fold,
think
right? Some people just like decide like this is it. Like it doesn't sound like that was your end, right? You were like,
no.
so let's talk about that.
I feel like that was actually my beginning, which is
100% it was your beginning,
because
right?
yeah, I think so many people like they get down in rock bottom and they just like get totally swallowed in like victim mentality and then they just stay there forever. Like that defines them. They don't want to try ever again. Like they just give up and they just live down there. And for me, I was like, I didn't get through that for nothing. Like I am never going to let myself ever make those same mistakes again or basically be treated like this. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that was definitely for me where everything started.
Yeah, I often say we're forged as business owners. Oftentimes, we're forged in fire.
Hmm.
It comes to us, just because we don't know many times like these things. Like, hey, if I'm signing on this LLC, I'm freaking liable, right? And now I'm stuck in this thing, and somebody else has abandoned it, but I don't want to abandon it because I don't want it to wreck us, and like that you're
Yeah.
taking personal responsibility and accountability for it. And I've seen that a lot of times, right? Where even with buying houses or helping people sell houses, where like somebody's going through a divorce, like I've seen the one spouse want be okay with losing hundreds of thousands of dollars just
Just to get
despite
out.
just despite the other person, right? Like meaning like I want to hurt. I'm okay. I'm going to hurt myself in this process, but I'm going to hurt them in the process too, and I'm okay with it, right? I'm not saying that's what happened. I've just
Right.
seen that happen, you know?
Yeah, and I think you do see a lot of times in when it is divorce or estates or anything like that, somebody always thinks that they're gonna like get an attorney and get more. And all it does is get everybody less because now they're spending money on attorneys. And again, nobody cares what you're getting. Like
Yeah.
nobody cares that it's fair. It's not gonna be fair. Like for the most part, it's not fair. And like nobody cares about it. So I feel like that was really it helped me not waste my time thinking that someone was going to care, honestly, for like everything in life. They
Yeah,
don't
you know
care
what?
if you're screwed over. They don't care if they didn't give you the money that you thought you deserved. Like that's just how it goes.
Yeah, I remember the time when I realized, like, yeah, life isn't fair,
Yep. And
right?
nobody's going to go fix it. So it's like when I had the restaurant, everybody's like, well, why didn't they, make him pay for the other? They don't care. Like they got other stuff to figure out than to be like, hey, you probably should pay her back for half of that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't care. And then what am I going to pay another attorney that now I don't trust any and try to go after, like, spend money to try to get some back? Like, it just doesn't even make sense, especially when nobody's going to actually reinforce it. It's like, just move on.
How did you dig yourself out of all of that?
I really had to go. I went through kind of like this mindset shift, I guess,
Hmm.
where I did my goals. I like to do my like write my goals down, end of the year. Now I do them a lot more often than that, but I like to write them down. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna start reading books. Like, I'll do an audio book because I listen to podcasts all the time, but a lot of times they were just like nothing podcast, like a crime documentary, or I wasn't
Hmm.
really learning anything from it. It was just entertaining. So I was like, all right, I wonder if I start doing audiobooks and like actually learning something because, as real estate agents, we're in the car all the time. So I like to listen in the car. So I was like, I'm going to read a book a month. And that's really what kind of snowballed into all of it because I picked a book on, it was on mindset and manifesting and like building the life that you want. And it was like,
Hmm.
it opened so many different like perspectives that I didn't think of. And so then I
Hmm.
just kind of changed what I was listening to and what I was filling my head with.
Hmm.
And it makes you look at everything differently, but it also motivates you to figure out, who are you? And at this point, I know that I'm way stronger than I ever thought that I was because I had just, come back from this hurricane of mess. So, yeah, that really, really helped me just focus on the future and know that my future is what I'm going to build it, not what somebody else is going to build and then I'm going to work for them. Do you know what I'm saying? Or like,
Hmm.
oh, I'm going to just find another partner and hopefully he has a good job. Like, I don't want to rely on somebody like that. And it's like, if I'm not okay, then my kids are not okay because
Hmm.
if I don't build a future for them, they're gonna have nothing. And like life's
No.
just getting more expensive. And you know how it goes when you deal with the states and then their kids can't afford for their parent to have care and it's just like a nightmare. So that was really when I was like, if I can survive this and like be somewhat mentally sane, then like I can definitely push myself to build something insane that's exciting and what I actually want to do with my life.
Yeah, full accountability over everything.
Yeah.
The good, the bad, full accountability, right? Like
Mhm.
when you take full accountability over your life, there isn't there isn't complaining, there isn't blaming, there isn't it's just like it's just doing, right?
Yeah,
It's
and I
like
think blame is a lot of things that hold people back.
hmm.
Because that's part of the reason why it's like, okay, I'm going to try all these things and I'm putting myself out there and I'm getting out of my comfort zone and I'm making myself do it. But if it doesn't work, I can't blame anybody. Like, I'm just like, oh, I tried, whatever, it didn't work. Like, and you move on instead of being like, well, it could have worked if like this person did it this way. Like, you get so stuck in the blame that like then you never move anywhere.
You stay in a box. You become a
Yeah.
prisoner to other people. You give other people power. You know, I
Yeah.
teach this framework. It's called the seven levels of freedom.
Hmm.
And level one is all about mindset, energy, and identity. Because if you don't have those things right, even if you start building, even if you have some success, if you don't have that foundation right, it will all come crumbling down, right? You need to
Right.
have a victor over a victim mindset, glasses half full versus half empty. What you say actually matters, speaks truth into the world,
Hmm.
right? And so you have to be very careful with just the thoughts you're putting in your head. So I call it priming the morning, priming the day. Like,
Yeah, I like it.
are you priming negative things into you, like watching the news and like
Yeah.
death and destruction, or
Oh,
like,
yeah.
right? Or are you priming your brain in a way, and your life in a way that it is going, good things come in, good things go out, right?
Yeah,
Good
like
things
it'll
come.
propel you in the direction you want to go in, which is, yeah, definitely what I did with like these books and these podcasts. It was like, all right, now when you're filling your head with different things, you're thinking about those. And then that also like you see them more. It's like when you buy a car and you think it's like not that common, and then everywhere you go, you
Yeah,
see that car. Do you know what I'm saying? You're like, I
yeah,
didn't realize everybody else had the same car as me until I got it. It's the same thing with whatever you're filling your brain with. So if you're
yeah.
filling your brain with like positive energy and motivation and like drive, then that's what you're going to see, that's what's going to come to you. And other people also sense that, which I feel like I'm not one of those people that pushes that onto other people, but it was weird because when my energy shifted into that, I feel like other people, like, things just fell into line and like they were like, you're so drip, like they were noticing that about me without me having to tell other people what I
Yeah.
was doing.
Yeah, yeah, no, people recognize energy. They recognize positive energy, they recognize negative energy, right?
Yeah.
So it's important. That it's called the reticular activation thing in your brain, right?
Okay.
You want the red car, you see the red car, you see red cars everywhere, right? It's like that with opportunity,
Hmm.
right? When your brain starts learning what opportunity looks like, and
Oh yeah.
then you just start spotting it everywhere,
Yeah,
right?
and then I think I almost got like a little addicted to like being outside my comfort zone. So like if I ever have like a lull where I'm like, oh, I can just like do something today that I want to do, it almost makes me like, no, I shouldn't do that. I need to like do something that's like not like making me nervous or like
Yeah.
exciting me in a way that like is getting you out of your comfort zone. Like it's almost like addicting when you start doing it and you're like, okay, this is like really scary, but I'm just gonna do it anyway because I don't care. Like, what's the worst they're gonna say no? Like, who cares? And then you get so used to doing it that it's almost like fun.
Brittany, in our framework, right, it sounds like you've conquered level one. Level
Okay.
two is all about creating predictable income in your life through
Hmm.
some, in our world, it's agenting or investing, right?
Hmm.
So yours is agenting. Tell me, how did you create predictable income? Because there's like, this business could be like up and down, up and down,
Yeah.
up and down. So what's the machine that you built there?
I mean, the market is like it's hard in real estate because like there's so many things that affect your income and also your career that are not they're external factors. So it's not like, oh, I didn't work as hard this time or I didn't do this right or I managed my time poorly. A lot of times like especially earlier this year, like we had an election, we had, the stock market going crazy. Now people are freaked out about these tariffs. Like we still had higher interest rates, we still didn't have so much inventory. Like there was so much uncertainty going on and that was nothing that any agents could really even do. But I mean, or really, we couldn't do anything about it. So that's kind of where I still put so much time and effort into like marketing for real estate because we still have had a really good year. But yeah, again, that's it's not
Well,
predictable. It's not
yeah.
consistent.
Well, your marketing, here's what's interesting, right? I was looking at our numbers yesterday where we have probably 35, 40% more appointments than we had last year, right?
Hmm.
And our production's the same, right? So we've done better with leads and appointments, but currently we're at the same pace than we were.
Hmm.
And the one thing that we can always like control as salespeople, whether it's an investor, whether it's an agent listening, is mindset, right? We can
Hmm.
control our mindset, right? Our energy. We can control our activity. And what I heard you say is you stayed consistent with a marketing activity, right?
Yep.
So what is that marketing activity for you, Brittany? What's the thing that you do, that I might say, and maybe you're still discovering it better than anybody else. Like, what's the thing that you're focused on?
I mean, I do think that one thing that separates me from a lot of competitors is I'm just excited and authentic. Like, I'm not going into a listing appointment trying to win them over or sell them on something. Like I'm just going in there and being myself and, figuring out what they need instead of saying, this is my marketing plan, this is what I do, and this is how I do it. I like to know their story. I like to know where they're going, what's their timeline, like what makes them tick, what's important to them, like maybe the price isn't important to them and they just want to make sure, the timeline is better. Or it could be not everybody's the same. So it's almost like a lot of agents are taking their marketing plan to a client like it's a diet plan they're going to hand to every single person, but every person has different goals and also different bodies. So it's like
Yeah.
it's the same thing. So I like to cater my listing presentation or my marketing plan really to the client. And then I do a lot on social media that's really helped. And I mean, we'll still do like mailers every now and then, newsletters, like stuff like that. We'll do like video newsletters that we send to like our past clients or anybody that joins our newsletter list, which we have probably like 1,000 people on that. So
What
just like
you're
I also think staying in the community is like it's marketing, but they don't even know it's marketing. So like
Yeah.
the whole purpose of my podcast is really just a marketing campaign, but it's like a disguise because it's not focused on real estate. It's focused on people within the community. But the more people that I have that I'm connected with that are pushing people to my podcast are following me now on socials, and they're going to see my real estate anyways. So I
Perfect.
don't need to go up to
That
them and
that's
say,
that's what we're going to double click on this real fast.
okay.
But let me go back because what you were referencing earlier is what I call mind mapping. When you go and you sit down with the client, you need to understand what they're.
Sorry, I don't know why
Okay.
someone's ringing my doorbell. Okay, hold on.
This is
Hold
real life.
on. No, I don't know. It's always, sorry, it's always like a dog or a kid or somebody. It's probably like a neighbor kid trying to come over, but
It's all good. It's all
sorry.
good. I call it mind mapping, right? Mind mapping is learning the other person's reality. Like, what do
Yeah.
they believe? Because, like, I need to know context of what they believe and who they are and where they want to go and what their fears are and what their dreams are
Yep.
for me to be able to come up with the right prescription in order to help them get to where they want to go. So you just have to mind map. The only way that you can mind map is by asking really good questions. And everybody's always like, what questions? Well, it's just about being curious about the other person,
Yeah,
right?
I feel like I don't even think about that, but I think
Yeah.
that's just my personality type.
Yeah.
Like I
Well,
want to know who they are. I want to know where they're going. I want to be excited about, their move or help comfort them if it's not a move that they really want to do. Do you know what I'm saying?
100%. 100%. So I call that mind mapping. So for those listening, whether you're an investor going on an appointment, whether you're an agent going on a listing appointment, one of the big things I teach everybody on our team is how do you mind map properly, right? I have this I have this thing called our Back to the Future framework, especially when we're interviewing and recruiting people. It's like I always want to go back in time. I'm kind of doing it with you now, right? Like
Hmm.
back in time. Hey, how did you get into this? What do you want to do? Then we go to the future, right? When I'm interviewing somebody, like, hey, what do you want to build? What's your future? What's your preferred future look like? And then we get the reality. It's like, okay, what's life look like now, right? And then you could really help move people with that kind of framework. Okay, so I digress. What I wanted to double click on was you've created what I call a Trojan horse in your marketing. You've created a podcast in the local community where you actually get to meet people and invite them into your podcast that are part of the local community.
Yep.
Brilliant. Brilliant. So, what is the podcast about? I'm curious.
So the podcast is really about everything, which at first I was like, how am I going to market this if it's about everything? But I mean, when you're thinking of branding, my brand is me, and I'm a lot of things. I'm not just a real estate agent. I'm not just a mom. I'm not just a have Frenchies. Do you know what I mean? Like I have so many different things that I do. So, and that's what people like. They don't want to see only houses on my Instagram. And so I think I'm just branding myself for who I am and kind of diving into that. But the goal was to have a podcast that was kind of just on everything. But I didn't really know what I wanted it to be on. I kind of did the podcast backwards. I was like, I have no idea how to make this. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to edit. I bought some microphones and I figured out how to record, and I'm just going to start in the middle, and then I'll figure it out as I go. And maybe I'll figure out a theme, and maybe we'll focus on certain topics, but it was the more.
There's so much wisdom in that.
Okay, great. Because
Yeah,
at
that
first I was doing it, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'll just figure it out.
no, there's so much wisdom in that because it's like so many people just overthink it and never start.
Yeah, and I was like, if I plan this out, I'm never going to do it because I'm going to get all like focused on, okay, how do I make a podcast on like Apple or whatever. So I'm like, I'm just going to go in backwards. And then I was kind of using the people on the podcast to represent different people all over the place. So I've had like topics that, like the last one I just did was the girl that had infertility and IVF issues. There's so many people in that space. I've never had that issue. I have two kids. I've never had a miscarriage, but I'm like, there's a lot of people that she could be a voice for. Do you know what I'm saying? But it's also giving her a voice to share her story. And every single guest that I've had is local. So they've all been in person. They've all been in a different location. I had another girl who, just recovered from alcoholism and eating disorders. We sat in pajamas on her couch and just did the podcast. And she was like, I've been wanting to share the story, but it's like hard for me to share the story because if I do it online, then people think I'm trying to get attention. And then it's like just an authentic conversation. So some of them are businesses. I'll promote people's businesses that don't really have a big social platform or don't really know how to do all of that. So it's kind of a good way for them to promote it. But then it's just giving me new audiences through all of these people that I wouldn't have been able to reach. And I'm also not coming across salesy. Like they're getting my personality, and it's reaching kind of every audience because it's a little bit of everything. Like the one I have next week is like on interracial families. So like my friend is white and she is married to a black man and they have a black and white daughter. So it's like, what's going on with that? I don't know about that. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just learning about people. I want to know what
You're curious. You've
struggles, yeah,
got curiosity. That's
but it
cool.
also is giving a space for everybody because again, there's so many people in all these spaces that I don't live in. So it's educating people, it's making people feel seen on
Mm.
every level. So I've really done different I would say like personal struggles and challenges and then also business things and saying how'd you build your business and then promoting whatever it is they want to promote.
Yeah, what you've done is created a platform and a voice for people that maybe
Mhm.
don't know how to get that voice out there. It's very powerful. I use probably about 6, 7 years ago. I would do exactly what you're doing in the community, but it was all business focused because that's my jam, right? Like
Yeah.
it's all about like I love the entrepreneur, I love business owners. I want to know why they decided to start a bike shop or a
Mhm.
coffee shop or like who inspired them to do it, what was the biggest hurdle and headache, how did they
Yeah.
learn the money side of the business? Because nobody teaches us that shit. And the next thing we know, we're in trouble. Like you starting a
Yeah.
restaurant, like blows my mind a little bit. Well, not starting. Like how much restaurant education did you have in the beginning? It's like
None.
none.
Right, but then I have had people on that are like, yeah, starting businesses from nothing, and they're like, I didn't realize that it was going to be, a multi-million dollar business. I was just working.
Yeah.
And then they tell their story about all their screw ups, and it's kind of funny, and like it's just like light and fun. And I
Yeah.
know all the people, so it's cool too, because it's like we're just hanging out having a conversation.
Well, what happens is those people just become part of your community, your network.
Hmm.
And then, I'm sure this has happened to you already. Everybody needs to buy and sell and invest,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And so, who are they going to think about? The person that gave them a platform to share their story and their voice,
Yeah.
or the person that they got just like a maybe like a flyer in the mail from. It's like, no, you got to go to the
Right.
person where there's an intimate relationship, who helped me get my voice out there, my business out there. They were there for me to help. So I love this strategy for anybody listening right now. It's
Yeah.
so powerful. But you got to be cool with interviewing people. And actually, you got to be your authentic self. Like you said, you're curious about all of these things. I think
Yeah.
that's probably why it works so well.
Yeah, I want to learn about what's something stressful in someone else's life that I don't have to deal with. Because then it also helps you, in future relationships. Like I could run into somebody that has gone or is going through something that one of these people live, and at least now I know how they feel a little bit more. So I don't know. It's cool too because a lot of these people that I have given the voice to, their audience is also listening. So they're hearing my personality through the podcast, which is also gonna, if they're in this area, make them think about me when they're gonna buy or sell also. So it has really grown my network because I just put my 10th episode out. So all 10 audiences are new people that I don't know. And they're
Hmm.
all relatively local, at least in areas that I work. And I mean, I feel like I go places now and people are like, oh, like they recognize me or they know who I am or they ask me about the podcast. And there's people that want to come on now. So I really was doing it as like an experiment. I was going to do like 12 episodes and just call it a season and be like, then I'll see if I liked it, if I want to keep doing it. Is it too much work? Do I have time? And now I kind of like didn't really put a cap on it. And I'm just like, writing it out until I'm ready to take a break. Because then I keep getting other people that are like, oh, like I want to talk about this, or I'm just invested in this brand. Like, let's talk
What
about that, or whatever it
What
is.
is the name of the podcast?
So it's called Might Get Loud with
Might
Brittany
oh might
Racine.
get loud. Might get
Yeah,
loud.
because I needed it to mean nothing. And again, I didn't have the name when I first started it because I was like, I don't want it to be too business focused because then if somebody doesn't want to listen to a business podcast, they're not going to listen to it. But then I didn't want it to be too mental health focused because some people want to be inspired for business. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I was like, I need it to just mean nothing because every single person that's coming on here is unrelated. And I like to laugh a lot and have fun. So I was like, okay, it might get loud. I don't know. That works.
I love it. You know what it reminds me of? I know I'm gonna butcher this. So Seinfeld, essentially, when they were thinking about like the sitcom, they were like, "Well, it's gonna be about nothing." Like, what do you
Yeah.
mean it's about it's like it's gonna be about nothing, right? And that was the whole idea. It was like it's nothing. It's just everyday life, right?
Yeah.
And
And it's also like, okay, if you want to skip one, then the next week might be something else that you're interested in because they're all different.
they're all different,
But then I
right?
do find that people are like binging them more. They're like, I didn't know if I wanted to listen to that one, but I did, and I actually really liked it, you know? Like I did a business of these girls that own a med spa. So they
Mm.
do like Botox and I mean way beyond Botox. I didn't know how much was going on in there. And that one I was like, okay, I don't know anything about skincare. I'm the worst skincare person ever. I like put Vaseline on my face and go to bed. And they're like, you know, but we're like laughing through it too, and
Yeah.
they're talking about all these different procedures, but like they have like 4,000 clients and they're all so excited to listen to it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Oh,
it's
and by the way, like those things print money.
oh my
Like
gosh, I
they
know.
print money. Like I have a friend, she owns one of those, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh my goodness."
Yeah,
Right?
and I mean, they have to have the most loyal clients ever because I actually got a lot of followers just from sharing a post with them. And that was one that I was like, okay, this has literally nothing to do with anything, but I just like them and they're nice. And then again, like you get followers and and then they did like all this skincare stuff for me for free. It's like I'm getting compensated in ways that have nothing to do with real estate, but it's also still a marketing campaign. Nobody knows that it's a marketing.
100%. It is the best way to do business.
Yeah, it's like a
100%.
disguised marketing campaign because I think some people
100%.
were like, "Have you always wanted to do a podcast?" And I'm like, "No, I actually didn't want to do a podcast because I knew it was going to be so much work. I'd rather do this. I just talk to you and then
Yeah.
you do all the work." But I was like, "All right, I guess I'll try it and just do yeah, 12 episodes as like a marketing campaign, something different than mailers and like going to, I don't know, open houses with cookies that nobody eats. Do you know what I'm saying?"
100%. I love this in so many levels. Okay, for somebody listening right now who you just inspired and they're like, I want to do a podcast. They were like on the fence, I want to do a podcast. What advice would you give them on doing a podcast?
Just start. You're never going to be ready. You're never going to know what you're doing. Like if you figure out what you're doing before you start it, you're not going to start it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, definitely start before you're ready. Don't put like too many rules on yourself for it. So if you're just go with the flow. If something else comes up and you're like that's not really what my plan was, but you like it anyway, do it. If you don't have to share it if you don't want to, you're in control of it. And then as far as putting the podcast together, I am not techie. I don't even know anything about computers or anything like a bat. Okay? And I did the whole thing through ChatGPT. I literally asked ChatGPT, how do I make a podcast? And I just sat down for like, I want to say it was like Memorial Weekend. I sat down for like 8 hours on one of those days and I just talked to ChatGPT while I was filling out like putting it all together. I'm like, okay, well now it says this, so I'm stuck. And then it would say, okay, click this or try this or look for this. Half the time it would just send me the link to whatever it was that I was looking for.
That's so crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like everything we want is right there. It's like you've
Yeah.
got your own personal coach
Mm-hmm.
in order to do it.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
So I did all
Fascinating.
of it on my own, which like I'm proud of now that I look at it because I'm like, okay, it was kind of a lot of work, but it really wasn't. I just figured it out. So yeah, it was like not having a plan, just starting, figuring it out as you go, and like I didn't want it to be perfect, which is I think made it a lot easier because I was like, oh my gosh, now I have to have this studio and I have to have like branding and like an and I was like, I don't want to rent a studio if I don't like this or transform my house. So that's why I kind of just took it to wherever my guest was. Like
Yeah.
if they want to showcase their business, we'll have like, the name in the back or whatever the product is. Or if they're telling a story about like one of my friends, her husband.
How are you recording? Is it just audio? Are you also
No, it's
recording the
video
video?
and audio.
Okay.
Again, it's like I didn't even get good equipment. Like I used my laptop and one camera that I actually knocked over the last time we were recording, like on the concrete. So I bought microphones, a camera. I don't know why it came with headphones. I've never used those. Oh, and like one, I don't even know what the word is for it. It's like a thing that you plug the microphones into and it has like buttons for
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
audio.
Yeah.
And then I just figured out how to plug it all in and then I take it with me to wherever I meet the person and set it up.
Good for you. I
Yeah.
think the big lesson there for anybody is just start because
Just start.
there's a book that I love around sales and I always recommend it for people. It was written by David Sandler, and he wrote a book called "You Can't Teach a Kid to Ride a Bike at a Seminar." Okay, and
Okay.
it's a book on sales, right? And the whole point is like the only way that you can actually really learn all this stuff is just
Just by
go do
trying.
it, right? It's
Yeah,
just
and
by
then
trying. And
There
you're
was
gonna,
two episodes that I didn't even plug the microphones in. I had to redo them.
yeah, it's just like the idea that be okay with sucking, and
Yeah.
just like every day, just suck a little less. It's kind of like suck a little less,
Yeah.
and every day you'll just get a little bit better, just one little tiny little bit better. And I always say, right, I think as people we want to see, sometimes people want to see progress like really really fast.
Yeah.
And having been like being an investor, I know that this is just everything compounds over time, right?
Hmm.
Good deeds compound over time, money compounds over time, relationships compound over time, working out compounds over time, smoking compounds over time in a different direction, not working out compounds and over time in a
Yeah.
different direction, right? So which direction are you compounding things is kind of how I think about it, right?
Yeah.
And who knows where your podcast will be 100 episodes from now, right? Just
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
you just think about how how many people you will have connected with,
mhm.
right? At that point. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I started it, and again, like I work with my mom. She's my partner. We're on a team, just two people. She's like, "So why are you doing this?" Like, I feel so many times I'm like getting these weird ideas, and I'm just like, "Let me just try it. I don't know. I'll just do it." And then now she's like, "Okay, now I get it," because she's seeing all these different opportunities that I am getting from just being out there. It doesn't even necessarily have to be the podcast, but it's just connecting with people is huge, and it's you don't have to be salesy, and that's not my vibe either to like go into someone's house and be like, let me sell this for you, or are you looking to buy or sell a house? Like that's just
Yeah.
not me at all. So I think and I do think people actually like that because there's so many agents that do that salesy stuff, and it's like I just be myself. I know that I know I'm good at my job, but I don't have to tell everybody or beg everybody to do stuff.
What you could tell your mom is that it's a database building exercise.
Yeah, she was
All
typing it like that. That would
Yeah,
make sense to her.
all real estate, that's right. All real estate is a database building exercise, right? Like
Mhm.
all business is just how many people do you have in your database? How many
Yeah,
people
how many
are
people can
get
you reach or
yeah,
make an impact on for
that
sure?
that's it. And so this is just a database building exercise,
Yep.
and your unique voice that attracts your unique avatar, and you'll find that your business is going to continue to explode. It'll be awesome,
Yeah,
right?
good. Well, thank you. Yeah. I mean, it's been fun. And I mean, I am doing video and audio, but I mostly just do the video for like promoting it on socials.
Yeah.
'Cause I just think video does so much better on social media to kind of push everybody over. So yeah.
So where do you want to take you've been in business 12 years now, right? But 4 years you said have been really purposeful.
Hmm.
What do you want the next 4 to 5 years to look like for you? Look, you're getting nervous now. You're scratching your neck. You're
No,
like,
I
"Ah."
feel like I feel like it's such a like it's an exciting question. I always feel like you need to know where you want to go and what you want to do. But I also am so like I'm having so much fun and it's been so successful for me to just really go with the flow and see where it goes. Like I cannot tell you where I think the podcast is going to land or where it's going to take my real estate career or it could take me in another direction where I'm still doing real estate but then I'm also doing something else. You know what I mean? Like I don't see me leaving real estate anytime soon. And I do think that at least the area that I'm in, the market is very strong. So I see it continuing to be steady. But again, like I'm just opening that door for other opportunities and it's been great. It's been fun too. So I'm really just going with the flow. Hopefully I get a hint here of like where it's gonna land. I mean, hopefully by like end of the year. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of just like leaving a door open and just saying yes to all the things. And it's been really good for business too.
Yeah, it could go in a lot of different directions, right? It just kind of you have, whether you share it now or not, you definitely have a dream in your heart of where you would want things to go, right? And because it could go to build a bigger team or
Mhm.
business if you wanted to. It could go to be like, no, I'm going to build a media empire if that was the direction you wanted to take it into, right? It could do a combination of both, right? Because if you look at like what Gary Vee has done or Ryan
Yeah.
Serhant has done, right? Like they're practitioners in the business in their respective fields, but they're really a media company, right? At
Yeah.
the end of the day.
Yeah,
And
but
so
they're still their own brand too.
they're
So
their own brand, right?
Yeah,
For
I don't
sure.
know. I'm kind of going with it.
Cool.
Everybody's always told me to be like a motivational speaker or like a life coach, but I'm like, I don't know. I would think about it. But
Yeah.
I do feel like podcasting is actually easier because it's not like public speaking, even though you are. It's not as like much pressure. You can't see the audience.
Well, remember, always do the things that scare you.
Yeah, I
All
mean,
right.
I'm into that
I,
now.
I call it slay your dragon, right?
Okay.
That's slay your dragon. If there's a dragon in the business, like one of my early dragons early in the business was I couldn't read a P&L to save my life. Like I didn't know.
Yeah.
Like numbers were for other people. I just do deals, right?
Yeah.
And that shit got me into a lot of trouble early in my career because I'm like, just my wife one day was like,
I'm
"Hey, there's
jealous.
normally 100,000 in this account. There's only five. I don't know where the rest of the money went." I was like, "Okay, let me look at your books that I don't really fully understand." Right?
Yeah,
And
that's why you use AI now, right?
yeah, yes, 100%. Now you can
I
just
do think
load it.
AI is going to change a lot of real estate too. So that's also why I'm kind of like dabbling in other things because I do think it could kind of, throw a wrench in the real estate
So
industry.
so so let's touch on that a little bit, right? As we kind of wrap this up.
Yeah.
What do you think, like, what's your vision of how it could change things? Like, do you have a vision of how it could evolve
I
things?
mean, I think a lot of it's probably going to run a lot of agents out. Like a lot of those lower performing part-time agents, I think are going to they're going to have to give up. Because AI is just it's becoming so powerful. I just did a podcast with AI like programmers yesterday, which I'm scared to look at it. My face is probably like I'm trying so hard to focus on what they're saying because it's so like complex. But I do think that AI is just it's getting so smart so fast and it's just gonna and some people are riding the wave with them. So I think there could be I don't know what direction it's going to go. It's hard to predict, but I mean there could be more for sale by owners. You can basically do a market analysis using AI. I mean, if I can build a podcast through AI, I would
Mm-hmm.
think
Mm-hmm.
people who
Mm-hmm.
are relatively tech savvy could maybe do comps, figure out how to put it on Zillow, make like you know what I'm saying? I feel like they
Mm-hmm.
could maybe do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they could maybe negotiate contracts through that. I don't know. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's so many different things. I mean, you're not going to be able to physically go show the house, obviously the agent, but I think it's going to weed out a lot of agents that just can't compete. Because I feel like even now, like everybody's like you had the NAR settlement that happened, and then people don't want buyer's agent or they don't understand the whole buyer agent thing anymore, and then like that throws it like makes it complicated, and then they're like cutting buyer agent commissions down because now people think they don't have to pay it, so it's like you're working just as hard for less in a lot of situations, and then you see agents like we had like 7 offers on a house last week, and it was like one agent was like, I'll just take 1% because I'm going to list theirs, and it's like so you're going from getting 3% on 2 deals to maybe four on like total on 2 deals.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, how many times are these agents going to keep cutting their commission and working just as hard before they realize that it's not working for them? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just going to run a lot of those out.
I saw this gentleman in the business that I admire. He said, he was telling a story about his life, and he realized that people pay a lot of money to be around the people that they want to be around, right?
Hmm.
Okay, what do I mean by that? If Brittany becomes a local community celebrity, they could go try to do it on their own, but why do that when they really want to be connected to Brittany because she's a positive force for good in the community and she
Hmm.
knows what the hell she's doing, right?
Right.
And
And
so
I'm connected
people
to so many
end up
people.
paying for proximity, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I agree with that like a lot. I always tell people on my team, eventually people end up working with you because of who you've become, not because of
Hmm.
what you do, but because of who you've become
Hmm.
in the journey, right? And so, but I do think I agree with you that I think right now if you enter into a listing presentation or if you enter into somebody's house, you can quickly analyze what needs to happen. You as an agent that's been in the business for a long time to maximize the ROI if that's what they want to do. Paint
Right.
this, freshen this up, change this lights, right? Do this staging. I think you'll create video. There'll be somebody will be able to create video and say, great, how do we maximize this asset value based on this video that I just uploaded? and it'll
Yeah.
be able to pull comps and then say, if you paint it this color, you'll be able to get a 0.05 better price.
Yeah.
If you put this kind of countertop, you'll be able to increase it by 1%, right? I think that will absolutely happen at some point, right?
But I do think a lot of agents don't even give that advice. Like they don't go in and say, "Oh, I would change this," or "I
Well,
would
the
take
best do.
this," or do you know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of those ones are going to be run out.
Yeah, yeah.
There probably will be like there'll be some people that are just like, "I want to hire the best agent. Take it away, do your thing. I'll pay what I have to pay." And then there's going to be some that either don't trust real estate agents for whatever reason or think they are educated enough to be a real estate agent because of HGTV and all those other shows, and then they just try to like AI it.
Yeah, the pros always want to work with other pros. Like I'm a busy person, right? So I don't have time to go build my own deck, right? Like I'm going to
Yeah.
pay somebody to go build my deck, or I don't have time to fool around. Like my dollar per hour is worth more. So if you actually go up the food chain and you start working with business owners, celebrities, all the rest, like they don't want to do
To do
that.
that, yeah. I
You
mean,
know,
it's
like
really gonna probably weed the clients out too, and leave the ones that you actually want, that are gonna that are gonna pay you and listen to you. Because I mean, a
what
lot of those other ones that are gonna try to AI it and do it themselves are gonna be the ones that want you to list higher than you told them it's worth, and then they want you to sell it in a day and like give you all these like parameters that you're like, that's not gonna work that way.
Yeah, especially if you go up the food chain, right? It's
Yeah.
just like you get to pick your own clients, right? And
Hmm.
so if you go up the food chain, you realize that successful business owners they don't have time, nor do they want to
Right.
do it. They just want a pro take care of it,
Yeah.
right?
That's the best.
Brittany,
They're like,
you
whatever
know
you
you
say.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know what you're doing. You've sold thousands of houses.
Hmm.
It's like just execute the play, right?
Yep.
I need to put my brain on my business, my family, moving to California, whatever it is.
Yep.
You take care of it, right? So the other piece I think which will, on the agent side of the business will kind of protect agents for a while. Who I can't predict the future, but I mean, human beings are complicated creatures. You need to have some serious EQ in this business, right? The emotional intelligence to
Hmm.
keep deals together and people from being mad at each other and
Oh, it's
all the
damage
rest.
control. So much
Right,
damage.
lots of damage control. And by the way, and a great agent will always be able to see the booby trap around the corner for you, right?
Yep.
They're going to be the one that says, "Listen, we could veer left, but there's like a lot of landmines down that way. It's
Hmm.
better if we veer right." Right? And
Yep.
that's why they pay you. That's why people that are really good at this business, they know they are the Sherpa, they are the guide. They like, and
Hmm.
people will pay for that, right? So, okay, well, Brittany, thank you so much for joining this
Yeah, thanks for
episode,
having me.
yeah, of the Income Flip. This has been great. I really wanted to unpack your story, right? Your journey. We talked a little bit, many times. This is very much about investing and buying and flipping and selling assets and buying other assets and buying businesses. But this has been a really cool, refreshing episode about, hey, how do you just build a marketing machine around being
Hmm.
your authentic self with something that I think is probably the most powerful thing for all of us, whether you're an investor or you're an agent. It's just media, right?
Hmm.
And picking the right media in the way that you want to deliver it.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thanks. This is really the first time I've been able to talk about it because I think I was kind of speaking on podcasts and then I took a break because I was making my own and I'm like, oh, like I'm finally talking about it and actually explaining it. So I love all your feedback. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks, Brittany.
Yeah.